Welcome back. You should have out page 285. Go ahead and put your name and number at the top where it says name. And let's see if we can just follow the order of operations by simply looking at numbers 2 through 10 to see if we can get them solved. All right? They kind of explain the order of operations a little bit differently than what Ms. Fisher did here, and that's okay. They kind of simplified it to 3 basic steps. They said first look for parentheses, and if there's parentheses, do that first. Then they said multiply and divide from left to right. So they kind of left off exponents, but it is part of order of operations. So I'm going to kind of put in between step 1 and step 2, I want you to write exponents. You still have to know if there's exponents, that comes before multiplying and dividing, solving that before. Then step 2 is to multiply and divide whatever's there from left to right. And then they said step 3 is to add and subtract from left to right. That makes sense to me if I think about my journal notes. You first look for parentheses, then you're dealing with exponents if there are any. After that, you're doing multiply and divide, and you're doing add and subtract. Okay, from left to right. They keep saying that. That's important. So number 2 says, follow the order of operations. To simplify means to solve. Don't be confused by that. Number 2, I'm going to see if this will let me zoom in on this. It will. It's exciting. Number 2. So the 2 operations I have here are add and divide. So really quickly, above where it says simplify, I want you to write PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Then I want you to connect the M and D and connect the A and S. So, are there any parentheses, class? Yes or no on number 2? Yes or no? Any parentheses? No. Okay. Any exponents? Yes or no?
No.
Any multiplication or division? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, then that is where I begin. So, I put a caret. Even though it wasn't listed first, the D in PEMDAS comes before the A. So you have to do this part first. And 16 divided by 4 is 4. And then you're going to have to show some connection brain waves like this. Well, now I know that it's 4. I just go 5 plus 4 equals 9. I have to show the thinking that I know I go back to this and I do the addition. 5 plus 4 is 9. You can connect that again if you want. It doesn't matter to me. I don't think I would. I would just show the thinking in my head. This was a really easy one to start with. Love it. I hope they're all this easy. Oh, they're not. They start throwing in decimals and fractions and all sorts of crazy stuff. So let's move on. You can tell that number 3 is going to be harder. Number 3. We always start with PEMDAS. Are there parentheses? Yes. So I begin in the parentheses, no matter what the operation is. It happens to be addition. Great. I have to do that first. Sometimes people get panicked when it comes to decimals. You don't have to panic. You can do this really simply. 0.3 plus 0.2 means it's 0.5, because 3 plus 2 is 5, so it's 0.5. So I'm going to write that right here. 0.5. Thank you. 0.3 plus 0.2 is 0.5. Thank you for that. Okay, now I've solved the parentheses, so I move on. This is kind of like doing the wiki. I don't need this information anymore. If that helps you, I wouldn't scribble it out so dark that you can't see what the numbers are, because then if you made a mistake, going back is hard. But I would kind of recognize that I'm done with that part. I'm done. And now I have 10. And I have this dot in the middle. That dot means multiply. So it now says 10 times 0.5. You can stack this up if you want. 10 times 0.5. You can use your head if you want, because you should know what 0.5 means. What does 0.5 mean, everybody? It means half. It means half. 0.5 is a representation of half. So we go ahead and just write that, or half. 0.5 is 1/2. It's the same thing. So now when I set this up, I can think, oh, what's 10 times a half? Or what's half of 10? I'm going to do it that way. Half of 10. That's super easy. Half of 10 is 5. That's my answer. So it's not necessarily that you have to stack up decimals. Try to use your brain. Try to see if there's ways that you can remember what to do in these kind of situations. I love number 4 so much. Look at number 4. 3 operations are happening. When there's 3 operations happening, it's kind of like your responsibility to put in parentheses. I think that's really good to remember. When there's 3 operations happening, you need to put in parentheses. You know what? That's so important to me that I'm going to come and put it under parentheses in my journal. So pull out your journal, look at the red part that says parentheses, and we're going to add something to that. Underneath it right here where it says parentheses, I would put a little star, and I would say if there are more than 2 operations, put in your own, and then I'll just draw it instead of writing parentheses. So remember how we said, or you can place them where they need to go. It is kind of going to be a requirement that if there's more than 2 operations, you should put them where they need to go. Sorry about you not being able to see that. Let's try that again. If there are more than 2 operations, put in your own parentheses. So let's go back then to number 4. There are more than 2 operations. So I need to put in my own parentheses. Pick up your red. Where do they go? Should I be putting them by the divide? Should I be putting them by add or by multiply? Which one of these in this situation should come first? Divide, add, multiply. Well, if I look at my PEMDAS, divide, add, multiply. So I've got, right? Divide, add, multiply. So it's going to be divide or multiply because that comes before the A and they're not connected. But these are connected. So I don't go straight for multiply. I just know I work left to right. So I've got to do the multiplication and division before I even touch the addition. So let's come back here. There's a divide and a multiply. So I have to do both of those before I get to hit the addition. So this actually requires me to do 2 sets of parentheses. The first one by the divide. The second one, where do you think I should put it? By the add or by the multiply? The multiply. So that's pretty cool. So now it looks like, okay, do 20 divided by 4, do 3 times 3, and then add those together. That's what it looks like. So do the carets. Ready, go. I'm just going to bring the plus sign down. The answer is 14. Here's what you would have gotten if you didn't do parentheses. Let's just pretend we had no idea that that was important. And so all I did was work left to right. Ready? 20 divided by 4 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. I would get the wrong answer. What if I decided to do parentheses around the 4 and 3? Okay, so 4 plus 3 is 7. Then I would have 20 divided by 7. That's hard. And then whatever that number is, times that by 3. 20 doesn't go into 7. That's not going to be pretty. So it is so important that you place parentheses where they're needed. Sometimes you need 2 sets of parentheses. Let's write that. Sometimes you need 2 sets of parentheses. And I'm always just going to abbreviate parentheses with the symbol. Sometimes you need 2 sets, and I'll actually draw 2 sets of them. A set means like a pair. So that's a set, and that's a set. sometimes you need 2 sets of parentheses. All right. Number 5. Let's move along. Number 5. There are already parentheses. Woohoo! There's no question. I get to start right there. Put a caret. Oh, no. 5/6 minus a third? Can't do that. They don't have the same denominator. This is clear back to Unit 1. Stack it up. Ready? 5/6. Is it minus? It is. Minus 1/3. Do you remember clear back from a long time ago when we had to use our robot voice to find equivalent fractions? I do. So I look at 3 and 6, 3 and 6. Okay, what could I change them into, everybody? 6. Which is awesome because I don't have to touch the first one at all. Okay. I turn on my robot voice and I say, how did I get from 3 to 6? I times by 2. So write it. Write times by 2. And then I have to write it as 1 times 2 as well. And 1 times 2 is 2. Wiki wiki. 1/3 is the same as 2/6. It's just helping me have the same denominator. It's like I took a third of a candy bar and broke it into smaller pieces. But it's the same amount, just different size pieces. All right, now I can do this. 5/6 minus 2/6 is 3/6, which is 1/2. Oh, so this caret is 1/2. And now it's awesome because 1/2 times 4, remember times means of. 1/2 of 4 equals 2. This is called algebra. What you're doing right now is called algebra, where you're figuring out how to use the order of operations, and pretty soon we're going to start using letters to stand for numbers, and you're going to have to plug in information. It's about to get harder, but it's cool stuff. This should be feeling like, wow, I'm definitely getting older in school because things are getting really interesting and difficult. All right, number 6. Wow, lots of operations. Subtract, add, subtract. Well, look at your PEMDAS notes. Subtract, add, subtract. So all of that information is just right here. Subtract, add, subtract. Well, they're connected. And there's no other operation. So what do? Work left to right. We're going to write that on this. We're going to write left to right. That's all. I don't put in parentheses. I don't try to do anything super crazy. I simply work left to right. Left to right. Do you need me?
You finished your books. Do you want them in the workroom or in here?
Anywhere. That's fine. Thank you. So I simply work left to right. All right. So let's make carets. 21 minus 12. Well, I can't do that in my head. Maybe some of you can. Think about it. Who knows what 21 minus 12 is? You can help us out. 21 minus 12, number 7?
21 minus 12 is 9.
9. Thank you so much. Raise your hand if you agree with him that 21 minus 12 is 9. Good. We trust number 7. You're right. 21 minus 12 is 9. Okay. Now what do? Do I hurry and jump over here and do the other subtraction? No. I work left to right. So I do a lot of this kind of stuff. Okay. Well, what's 9 plus 9? It's 18. And everybody, what's 18 minus 2? It's 16. Look at all of my crazy, weird pencil marks. I am showing the process of me connecting numbers. You have to do that. Okay, well, this was 9. Then I went here, and that was 18. Then I subtracted 2 and got 16. There's no right or wrong way to connect these numbers, but you have to show your connection process. Are we clear? Okay, let's move on. Woo, I love when there's parentheses. It takes away the thinking for me. It's like, great, I know exactly where to start. I love it when there's parentheses. 2 plus 4 has to happen first, 6. And now I'm scared. Because now I'm in this situation where it's like, wait, but now there's multiply and divide. Oh, those two are connected. So I work left to right. If they were not connected, I would need to figure out which one came first. Capiche? So then I'm going to write left to right. Kids always get confused and think, no, you have to do multiply before divide. Not necessarily. It's whatever comes first. This case, yeah, we are going to do multiply because it came first, but left to right. Okay, so connect numbers. Show Miss Fisher your thinking process as you go. And let's see if we get the same answer at the end. Go ahead, make your own connections. Did you get 12? You should have. Because I did 6, connected it down here. 6 times 6 is 36. And then I divided 36 by 3 and got 12. Let's for fun see what would have happened if we didn't do the right operations first. Like if we didn't start in parentheses. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 plus 4 is 16. 16 divided by 3 is like 5 and a third. Quite different than 12. So it's important. Nod your head if you know that it's important. Okay. I'll stop lecturing its importance then since you know it. Number 8. Anytime there are decimals, please don't panic. You have skills. You can do this. So I also am like, holy cow, there's not just decimals, there's a lot of operations going on. There's add, multiply, add. Take your pencil and touch all 3 of those operations just like I did. Add, multiply, add. So which one needs to happen first? Raise your hand if you know. Well, multiply and add are not connected. One of them does come first. Do you know which one comes first? Number 5. That's correct. Multiplication. So we put in our own parentheses. Pick up red. I get to put in my own parentheses. That has to happen first. Super cool. Then after that, it doesn't matter because they're both just add. So here we go. What? 0.1 times 5. What does 0.1 mean in a fraction? It means 1/10. But I can actually just leave it as a decimal. Let's try it. Let's actually do the multiplication right here. 0.1 times 5. Some of you probably already know what it is. Too bad. I'm making you do this part. I put a decimal box because I'm dealing with decimals and multiplication. A 1 goes in there because there's one place. The 0's out in front. It's a runt. 1 times 5 is 5. But there's a decimal box. So it's 0.5. Okay. And what should I put out in front just maybe to have there, everybody? A 0. Okay. So in this weird whole caret box right here, I'm just going to do it up here because you can do carets above too. It was 0.5. Wiki wiki. So I'm done with parentheses, and now I look at what operations are left. Add and add. Sweet. Work left to right. Use your brain. Don't stack these up. I know you can do this. 0.3 plus 0.5 is 0.8. Yeah? It's 0.8 technically. Now keep connecting. 0.8 plus 0.2, so it's like having 8 dimes and 2 dimes. They don't, I mean, you can say it equals 10 dimes, but what is 10 dimes? $1 whole dollar. So 0.8 plus 0.2 is just 1. You could say 1.0 if you wanted. Either way, that's the right answer. I know they're going to give you problems like this today where they're testing some of your old skills, your old decimal skills, your old fraction skills. You just have to go slow when it's harder like this. You can do it. Number 9, add, divide. Which one comes first in the order of operations? They're not connected. Which one comes first in this situation? Add, divide, add, divide. Number 12.
The division.
The division comes first, so let's put in our own parentheses. This part has to go first. Put a caret. Oh man. 9 divided by 0.1. Here's what that looks like. 9 divided by 0.1. Well, as we know from before, you can't leave the decimal in the divisor. You have to get rid of it. So you move it once this way, which means you have to move this one once. So it changes it to 90. So I'm going to rewrite it. 1 and 90. There are my new numbers. All of you did pretty well on this on that test, so I'm not worried about that. You should understand how to move the decimal. So now it's like, oh, just ask yourself the question, how many times will 1 go into 90? 90 times. Because 1 times 90 is 90. So what's inside of this caret is 90. Look how cool that is to show, hey, here's my work for the caret. Here's my answer for the caret. That's a really good organized way to do this. And I like to wiki, so I know I'm done with it. But you don't have to. And then I just simply work left to right because there's only one thing left. 18 plus 90, well, 9 plus 10 is 100, plus 8 more. Sorry, 90 plus 10 is 100, plus 8 more, 108. And number 10, I'm going to have you solve this one all on your own. Good luck. Do the carets, connect the numbers. Let's see what you get. No, that was super easy. Will you raise your hand if you know what the answer would be if you simply worked left to right? If you didn't pay attention to the parentheses. What would the answer have been if we didn't pay attention to the parentheses? What would the answer have been? Number 11?
24.
It would have been 24, that's correct, because 36 divided by 3 would be 12, and 12 times 2 is 24. But the real answer, everybody, is 6. That is correct. So we just spent a lot of time going over order of operations. You feeling okay about it? Give me a thumbs up if you are. Okay, let's turn the page. You wish that was everything, huh? We're going to solve numbers 11, 12, and 13, and then we'll be pretty much done, okay? I skip over a lot of this reading sometimes because we take journal notes, and everything that we've journaled is already kind of explained. They are kind of explaining something cool to you here, though, so let's pay attention to it. They're talking about big brackets and braces, and what that means, not with your mouth, but that does sound funny, brackets and braces. What that means is you can have, it's like inception of numbers. You can have parentheses and then brackets and then braces. So you can work from the inside, stepping out. That's pretty cool, and that's what they're showing you right here. So take a look. They want you to do all of this work before you even multiply by 12. So it would be doing this. Okay, well, first I solve, take your pencil. First I solve 4 plus 4, which is 8. Then should I jump to the outside of the bracket or still work within the bracket? Still work within the bracket. So then 48 divided by 8 is 6. So I took care of 4 plus 4. I took care of the divided with 48. So my real number in the bracket is not 8 anymore. It's 6. So now I go, okay, 12 times 6 is 72. Pretty cool. I am surprised they're having you learn that because it's a hard skill, and it's actually not a 5th grade skill. It's a 6th grade skill. So I think it's cool to learn it, though. Maybe some of you understood it pretty easily. Let's look at number 11. There's no brackets. Don't panic on this one. It's just simply to do what we know. Oh, we start in parentheses. 12 minus 4 is 8. And then I said it, and I shouldn't have said it. I'm sorry. After I took care of the parentheses, I look, and I see a multiply, and I see a divide. So what do? I work left to right. 6 times 8 is 48. And I'll just help you here. 48 divided by 16 is 3. If you didn't know that, you could set it up or practice. I don't know. But it's 3. So that wasn't too bad. The next one, all they did was put 2 sets of parentheses. So I solved this one, I solved that one, then I do the division. Let's do it. I love problems like this, and I know for a fact it's all over your homework and on the test. So watch. 1.3 plus 2.7. Okay, let's stack it up. 1.3 plus 2.7. The decimals button up. 7 plus 3 is 10. Oh, 4.0. I can either leave it as 4 or 4.0. I'm hoping that just using it as 4 will work, but I don't know. It might be that we need it to stay as 4.0. So I'm just going to put it above there. That's 4.0. Okay. Do I divide now? No. Where do I go? Raise your hand if you know. I don't just go straight to dividing. What do I do, number 10?
You go to the second set of parentheses.
That's correct. Thank you. So now I do this. 2.2 minus 1.7. You cannot do 2 minus 7, so you have to borrow. Okay. So I got 4.0 divided by 0.5. Ugh. That seems hard. 4.0 divided by 0.5. Well, I can change it to because I know 0.5 is half. So I could do 4 divided by half. Or I could just go, no, I do okay at division. So I could come up here and go, okay, 4.0 divided by 0.5. That's pretty easy to do that too, especially because of decimals. You just go, boom, see a decimal, change it to 5. Boom, that changes to 40. The answer is 8. Not the answer. Oh, it is the answer. Because 4.0 divided by 0.5 is 8. Do you remember how to do that? There's the decimal in the divisor. I move it over. So I have to move this one over. And I get 8. So the real answer to this whole problem is 8. I was thinking it was the answer inside the caret, but it's not. That was 0.5. That's how we got 0.5. It's because I didn't do wiki. See? Told you, it helps me. It's 8. Okay. Number 13 is super cool. I'm going to have you do that one on your own. Remember, this is not technically 5th grade content, so it's okay if you don't get it right. I'd love to see if you can do it. So work from the parentheses, and don't do anything outside of the brackets or braces or parentheses until you've finished everything in there. Go. I'm going to freeze this and see who can come up with the right answer. It's going to be lots of different people coming up with lots of different answers. Your answer is correct if it is a single digit. Your answer is correct if that single digit is an even number. Your answer is correct if that single digit is one more than Miss Fisher's favorite number.
Yes.
The answer is 6.
Yeah.
Watch, I want to see some connections on your paper. Here's how I did mine. I did the caret. 2 divided by 1 is 2. Then I connected. Okay, so now I go outside of it. And I go 4 divided by 2 was 2. Then I went outside of it. 8 divided by 2 was 4. And now I'm completely out of the brackets and braces. I'm out of it. So then I come clear up to the top. And 10 minus 4 is 6. Will you wait just a minute and not call anyone's name? Thanks.
Not anyone yet?
Yep. Just a second. So 10 minus the 4 is how I got the 6. Does that make sense to everybody? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Here's what's going to happen next. You're going to be given your homework and remembering, and you're going to have a bunch of problems, more like these ones, where you have to know the order of operations. Order of operations is so important, so let's say the whole thing together. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, but now say the real things. Here we go. parentheses, exponents, multiply or divide, add or subtract. Thank you. Catch you next time.